It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli penned The Prince, a ruthless guide to acquiring and maintaining power in the cutthroat political landscape of Renaissance Italy. Though written for rulers and warlords, its principles transcend time, offering startlingly relevant insights for today's business executives. In the 21st century, corporate leaders face their own battles: boardroom coups, market disruptions, fierce competition, and the constant struggle to maintain authority while inspiring loyalty. Machiavelli's lessons, often misunderstood as purely manipulative, are, at their core, about strategy, adaptability, and the pragmatic exercise of power. This book, Machiavelli for Business Executives, is not a call for unethical behavior. Rather, it is a playbook for navigating power dynamics with intelligence and foresight. Machiavelli's ideas are often controversial. Some will dismiss them as cynical, others will misuse them for short-term gain. But the true lesson of The Prince is this: power is a tool, its morality depends on the wielder. This book is for leaders who want to win intelligently, who understand that business is not just about profit margins but the art of influence, survival, and legacy. Are you ready to think like a modern prince? Let us begin. Machiavelli for Business Executives, Decoding Machiavelli's Laws for the 21st Century Executive. Written and published by the Zillion Pro. Chapter 1. The Executive as a Modern Prince. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. In The Prince, Machiavelli dissected the qualities that separate successful rulers from failed ones. His insights were not about morality but effectiveness, what truly allows a leader to seize power, maintain control, and leave a lasting legacy. Today's business executives face a similar challenge. The modern corporate landscape is a battlefield of competing interests. Shareholders demand growth, employees seek purpose, and rivals are always waiting for weakness. To thrive, an executive must think like a modern prince: strategic, adaptable, and unflinching in the face of tough decisions. This chapter will explore how Machiavelli's principles apply to executive leadership, from commanding respect to balancing fear and admiration. The nature of authority, why some leaders succeed and others fail. Machiavelli argued that leaders are judged by results, not intentions. A CEO may have a visionary strategy, but if the company fails, history will remember only the collapse. Key lessons. 1. It is better to be feared than loved, if you can't be both. Employees should respect deadlines, accountability, and performance, not just like you. 2. Avoid being hated. Fear should not cross into cruelty. Machiavelli warned that hatred invites rebel lion. 3. The illusion of consensus versus decisive command. Machiavelli despised leaders who sought constant approval. Strong executives listen, then act unilaterally when necessary. The inner circle, choosing your advisors wisely. A prince must always take counsel, but only when he wishes, not when others wish. The Machiavellian approach to team building. Beware of flatterers, surround yourself with truth-tellers, not yes-men. Control information flow. Knowledge is power, not everyone needs full transparency. Reward competence, not loyalty alone. Promotions based on friendship weaken the organization. The balancing act, flexibility versus ruthlessness. Machiavelli praised leaders who could adapt to circumstances while maintaining core strength. Modern applications. Pivot like a prince. When market conditions shift, the best leaders change tactics without losing vision. When to be ruthless. Layoffs, restructuring, and hard negotiations are sometimes necessary. The myth of the likable leader. Many executives obsess over being popular, but Machiavelli would argue this is a trap. The reality. Tough decisions create enemies. The leader who avoids conflict becomes weak. Respect, popularity. Employees may grumble about a demanding boss but will follow a winner. The modern prince's checklist. To lead like a Machiavellian executive, ask yourself: 1. Am I feared enough to ensure discipline, but not hated? 2. Do I have the right advisors, or just convenient ones? 3. Am I adaptable without being weak? 4. Am I prioritizing respect over popularity? Leadership is not about being the most virtuous, it's about being the most effective. The modern prince understands that power, used wisely, is the ultimate competitive advantage. Key takeaways from Chapter 1. 1. Fear, love but never cross into cruelty. 2. Control your inner circle. Loyalty matters, but competence matters more. 3. Adapt or die. Flexibility separates great leaders from obsolete ones. 4. Respect trumps popularity. Likability is overrated, results are what endure. Chapter 2. The Art of Corporate War. War should be the only study of a prince. He ought to consider peace only as a breathing time, which gives him leisure to contrive, and furnishes ability to execute, military plans. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Prince. In Machiavelli's era, rulers survived by mastering the art of war. Today, executives thrive by mastering corporate strategy, where boardrooms replace battlefields, competitors stand in for enemy armies, and market dominance is the ultimate prize. This chapter reimagines Machiavelli's military principles for the modern executive, revealing how to outmaneuver rivals, exploit weaknesses, and secure long-term dominance in your industry. Know your battlefield. The 5 Machiavellian laws of competitive strategy. 1. The ends justify the means, when applied strategically. Machiavelli argued that victory excuses harsh tactics if they lead to survival and growth. 2. Never let a crisis go to waste. Great leaders turn disruptions into opportunities. 3. Strike fast or not at all. Indecision is fatal. Speed creates first-mover advantage. 4. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. Psychological warfare in business. Tesla's early struggles made competitors underestimate Elon Musk until it was too late. 5. Divide and conquer. Fragment competitors' alliances or internal cohesion. Example, Microsoft's historic tactic of splitting IBM and Intel to control the PC market. Sun Tzu versus Machiavelli, complementary strategies for market domination. While Sun Tzu's art of war emphasizes avoiding conflict, Machiavelli teaches how to win when war is inevitable. Sun Tzu's approach: win without fighting. Example, Google buying Android to quietly dominate mobile. Machiavelli's approach: crush enemies thoroughly if you must fight. Example, Facebook cloning and burying Snapchat's features. Sun Tzu's approach: know your enemy. Competitive intelligence. Machiavelli's approach: make your enemy fear you. Aggressive PR, legal battles, talent raids. The synthesis: use Sun Tzu for long-term positioning. Use Machiavelli for decisive annihilation of rivals when needed. The modern Machiavellian playbook: tactics for corporate warfare. Tactic 1: preemptive strikes, kill the upstart before it grows. Example, Facebook's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp to neutralize future rivals. Tactic 2: feigned retreats, lure competitors into overextension. Example, Samsung letting Apple win the premium smartphone market, then flooding mid-range markets. Tactic 3: proxy battles, let others fight for you. Example, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, each uses regional bottlers to absorb supply chain risks. Tactic 4: scorched earth, make victory costly for challengers. Example, Uber's price wars bankrupted smaller ride-hailing firms globally. The dark arts: when to cross ethical lines, and when to pull back. Machiavelli acknowledged that ruthlessness has limits. Red lines for the modern executive: never break the law, Enron's fatal mistake. Never alienate your base, Boeing 737 MAX crisis eroded trust. Never let short-term wins destroy long-term strategy, WeWork's growth at all costs collapse. Winning the war without losing your soul. The Machiavellian executive must balance aggression with wisdom, knowing that today's defeated rival could be tomorrow's ally. Key questions to ask: 1. Am I fighting the right battles, or just the easiest ones? 2. Have I studied my rival's weaknesses as closely as my own strengths? 3. Is my victory sustainable, or will it spark a rebel lion, regulatory, employee, or customer backlash? Key takeaways from Chapter 2. 1. Business is war, adopt a strategist mindset or be outmaneuvered. 2. Speed and surprise, brute force in modern competition. 3. Use deception tactically, but never let it erode trust irreparably. 4. Destroy rivals only when necessary. Alliances often yield longer-term gains. Chapter 3. Power dynamics in the boardroom. He who believes that new benefits will cause great personages to forget old injuries is deceived. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Prince. The modern boardroom is Machiavelli's Florence reborn, a theater of shifting alliances, veiled threats, and strategic betrayals. Unlike open market competition, boardroom politics operates in shadows, where a single vote can dethrone a CEO or redirect billions in capital. This chapter decodes Machiavelli's principles for navigating corporate hierarchies, neutralizing rivals, and securing your position at the pinnacle of organizational power. The anatomy of boardroom power. The 5 pillars of influence, Machiavelli's modern update. 1. Formal authority. Title: the weakest form of power. Example: a newly appointed CEO without coalition-building skills. 2. Control of resources, budget, promotions, money equals leverage. 3. Information control, know what others don't. 4. Alliances, no leader rules alone. 5. Reputation, fear of your resolve or admiration of your vision. Machiavelli's warning: a prince who is not wise himself cannot be well advised. The Machiavellian Playbook for Boardroom Survival. Rule 1. Identify the true power brokers. Titles lie. The real power often sits with the lead independent director, the CFO controlling financial flows, a founder with veto rights. Rule 2. Never allow a power vacuum. Hesitation invites challengers. Rule 3. The art of strategic betrayal. Machiavelli: promises may get you power, but only performance keeps it. When to abandon an ally, they are becoming rivals. Their failure risks contaminating you. Rule 4. Use committees as weapons. Create special committees to isolate rivals, exclude them from key decisions. Bury unpopular moves in bureaucracy. Defensive strategies against boardroom threats. The poison pill. Not just a financial tactic, also cultural. Promote loyalists to key roles before a crisis. The loyalty audit. Periodically assess who would support you in a vote. Machiavelli: men are so simple, they will always be deceived by fresh benefits. The controlled leak. Shape narratives by selectively briefing journalists. The ethical boundaries. Lines not to cross. 1. Fabricating consents. 2. Illegal coercion. Ethical power moves. 1. Calling for independent reviews to discredit rivals fairly. 2. Using Robert's Rules of Order procedurally to block hostile motions. The boardroom as your chessboard. Every director is a piece, every meeting, a move. Terrain. 1. Map all power relationships quarterly. 2. Reward useful allies, but never fully trust them. 3. Always have an exit strategy, golden parachute or successor plan. Key takeaways from Chapter 3. 1. Real power not equal to org charts. Find who controls budgets and information. 2. Preempt coups by controlling succession planning. 3. Betray strategically, not emotionally. 4. Defend through structure, committees, policies, not just charisma. Chapter 4. The strategic virtue of deception. Men are so simple and yield so readily to the wants of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Prince. In business, complete transparency is a luxury few leaders can afford. Machiavelli recognized that selective deception, when used judiciously, can be the difference between survival and destruction. This chapter explores when and how to withhold, distort, or strategically reveal information. The ethical boundaries of corporate deception. The 3 Machiavellian truths about deception. 1. All leaders deceive. The question is how and why. 2. The market rewards perceived certainty over honest doubt. Shareholders punish vulnerability. CEOs who say we don't know see stock dips. Those projecting confidence get patience. 3. The best lies contain truth. Effective deception blends facts with strategic omissions. The executive's deception toolkit. Tool: omission. Purpose: avoid panic during transitions. Example: Musk not revealing full Tesla production issues. Risk: later credibility loss. Tool: misdirection. Purpose: focus attention elsewhere. Example: Zuckerberg announcing Meta during privacy scandals. Risk: requires ongoing maintenance. Tool: plausible deniability. Purpose: create institutional ambiguity. Example: pharmaceutical companies funding independent research. Risk: legal exposure. Tool: strategic ambiguity. Purpose: keep competitors guessing. Example: Apple's vague product roadmap. Risk: can frustrate partners. Machiavelli's warning: the promise given was a necessity of the past, the word broken is a necessity of the present. The ethical framework for executive deception. When deception is justifiable. 1. To protect legitimate trade secrets. 2. During sensitive negotiations, M&A, labor disputes. 3. When full truth would cause disproportionate panic. When it becomes toxic. 1. Concealing existential risks, Boeing 737 MAX. 2. Personal enrichment schemes, Enron. 3. Creating systemic fraud, FTX's SBF. The Machiavellian litmus test. 1. Does this protect the organization's survival? 2. Could I defend this to a smart 12-year-old? 3. Will this require compounding deceptions? The art of coming clean. Damage control protocols. 1. Controlled disclosure, stagger bad news. 2. The sacrificial lamb, blame mid-level executives when possible. 3. The pivot, turn scandal into transformation opportunity. The executive as honest liar. The 21st century prince must, 1. Know what deception costs. Trust capital is harder to earn than money. 2. Reserve lies for existential moments. 3. Always maintain deniable plausibility. Key takeaways from Chapter 4. 1. All executives deceive, the difference is in purpose and proportionality. 2. The market rewards confident narratives over hesitant truths. 3. Ethical deception protects value, unethical deception destroys it. 4. Have a redemption strategy before the deception begins. Chapter 5. Fortune and the Art of Strategic Risk-Taking. Fortune is the arbiter of one half of our actions, but she still leaves us to direct the other half. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. Machiavelli viewed fortune or luck, not as mere chance, but as a force to be harnessed. For today's executive, this means recognizing that not all risks are equal, preparing to exploit unexpected opportunities, knowing when boldness trumps caution. This chapter decodes Machiavelli's principles for calculated risk-taking, blending historical insights with modern corporate warfare. The Machiavellian Risk Matrix. 4 types of fortune in business. 1 type of fortune, sudden windfalls. Definition, unexpected market shifts. Modern example, Pfizer's COVID vaccine opportunity. 2 type of fortune, predictable cycles. Definition, recession forward/expansion patterns. Modern example, Buffett's be fearful when others are greedy. 3 type of fortune, self-created luck. Definition, risks that force breakthroughs. Modern example, Bezos funding Blue Origin with Amazon stock. 4 type of fortune, catastrophic ruin. Definition, black swan events. Modern example, Lehman Brothers 2008 collapse. Key insight, the best executives don't just rely on luck, they shape it. Machiavelli's rules for risk-taking. Rule 1, fortune favors the bold, but only the prepared bold. Machiavelli's warning, without preparation, boldness is recklessness. Rule 2, bet big on asymmetric upsides. Seek risks where downside is contained. For example, Google's 20% time policy. Upside is transformative, AWS becoming Amazon's profit engine. Rule 3, never depend entirely on fortune. Rule 4, when crisis strikes, act ruthlessly. Machiavelli, the remedy for fortune storms is to cut losses fast. Lesson, fortune rewards those who pivot before necessity forces it. The modern risk-taker's toolkit. 1. The controlled burn strategy. Example, Amazon's Fire Phone failure funded Alexa's development. 2. Machiavelli's 2 foundations approach. Always maintain, a cash cow, Microsoft's Windows, a future gamble, Microsoft's AI investments. 3. The surgical retreat. When to cut losses, Google shutting down Stadia after 3 years. Meta abandoning cryptocurrency plans. The ethics of risk shifting. When risk-taking becomes recklessness. 1. Moral hazard, CEOs taking bonuses while laying off employees, Goldman Sachs 2008. 2. Externalizing losses, Boeing 737 MAX outsourcing accountability. The Machiavellian standard. A leader's risks should 1. Preserve the organization's survival. 2. Align long-term stakeholder interests. 3. Never sacrifice reputation for short-term gain. Becoming fortune's partner. The 21st century executive must 1. Distinguish between strategic gambles and ego-driven bets. 2. Build shock absorbers for downturns, cash, optionality, talent. 3. Exploit chaos better than competitors. Key takeaways from Chapter 5. 1. Fortune controls half the game, your job is to dominate the other half. 2. Asymmetric risks, limited downside, unlimited upside, are the holy grail. 3. Cut losses fast, but let winners run. 4. Never risk what you can't afford to lose, even for sure bets. Chapter 6. The loyalty equation: when to reward, when to betray. Men are quicker to forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. In Machiavelli's world, loyalty was never absolute, it was transactional. For today's executive, understanding when to cultivate allegiance and when to sever ties is the difference between enduring leadership and sudden obsolescence. This chapter reveals the psychological drivers of employee and stakeholder loyalty, how to identify hidden betrayers before they strike, when strategic betrayal is not just justified but necessary, the Machiavellian loyalty spectrum. 3 types of corporate loyalty. 1. Fear-based loyalty, compliance. Pros: immediate results. Cons: high turnover risk. 2. Interest-based loyalty, mutual benefit. Pros: sustainable. Cons: fragile when interests diverge. 3. Ideological loyalty, shared mission. Pros: powerful. Cons: rare and easily corrupted. Machiavelli's insight: the wise prince builds on interest, leverage fear, and exploits ideology, but trusts none completely. The 5 laws of strategic betrayal. 1. Betray first when the math demands it. Rule: abandon positions, not people, easier to justify. 2. Never personalize necessary betrayals. Key: frame cuts as structural rather than personal. 3. Make examples strategically. Publicly sacrifice one to control many. 4. Always control the narrative. Machiavellian playbook: position betrayal as painful but necessary evolution. 5. The Judas ratio: keep 30% of promises. Research shows leaders who keep all promises are seen as weak. Optimal trust equation: predictable but not perfectly transparent, detecting disloyalty. The executive's early warning system. Behavioral red flags: sudden interest in process documentation, covering tracks. Overcommunication with competitors, LinkedIn activity spikes. Unusual alliances across departments. Digital footprint analysis. Tools: calendar crowding, recurring lunch meetings. Email response time degradation. VPN access during odd hours. The Machiavelli stress test. 1. If I were fired tomorrow, who would? Celebrate privately, immediately update their LinkedIn, fight to reinstate me. The ethics of executive betrayal. When betrayal crosses the line. 1. Violating employment contracts, Twitter's WARN Act violations. 2. Sabotaging personal reputations, the ANO's whistleblower persecution, justifiable betrayals, cutting ties with underperforming partners, pivoting from obsolete business models. The Machiavellian litmus test. 1. Does this serve the organization's survival? 2. Could the betrayed party have reasonably anticipated this? 3. Is the pain proportional to the gain? Mastering the loyalty economy. The modern executive must: 1. Map loyalty networks quarterly, who owes what to whom. 2. Stage controlled betrayals to maintain authority. 3. Never mistake compliance for commitment. Key takeaways from Chapter 6. 1. All loyalty is conditional, manage the conditions. 2. Better to betray first than be betrayed, when strategically unavoidable. 3. The most dangerous betrayers mimic loyalists perfectly. 4. Frame necessary betrayals as systemic rather than personal. Chapter 7. Ruthless execution: the Machiavellian art of decisive action. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. In corporate warfare, speed and decisiveness separate winners from casualties. Machiavelli warned that leaders who hesitate, whether from excessive deliberation, fear of backlash, or false consensus, invite disaster. This chapter delivers an unflinching guide to cutting through analysis paralysis, making unpopular but necessary decisions, executing with precision even when it hurts. The Machiavellian execution framework. The 4 quadrants of decisive leadership. Quadrant: lion mode, force. Definition: overwhelm resistance through sheer will. Modern example: Musk's Twitter layoffs, 75% staff cut in weeks. Quadrant: fox mode, stealth. Definition: achieve goals without visible conflict. Modern example: Microsoft's quiet dominance in government cloud contracts. Quadrant: architect mode, systems. Definition: build structures that enforce decisions. Modern example: Netflix's keeper test, automatic attrition of non-essential staff. Quadrant: gambler mode, risk. Definition: bet the company moves when cornered. Modern example: Apple's 1997 Microsoft alliance to avoid bankruptcy. Key insight: master executives shift between modes situationally. The execution playbook. 1. The 72-hour rule. Any critical decision not acted upon within 72 hours loses momentum. 2. Bloodless coup tactics. How to remove obstacles without martyrdom. The promotion trap. Move rivals to special projects. The committee freeze. Bury opposition in bureaucracy. The performance purge. Enforce sudden metrics changes. 3. The theater of inevitability. Frame decisions as fait accompli before announcement. For a sacrificial execution. Publicly sacrifice minor elements to save the whole. Overcoming execution barriers. The 3 enemies of decisiveness. 1. The compassion trap, delaying layoffs to be kind. 2. The data illusion, seeking 100% certainty before acting. 3. The legacy curse, over-identifying with past decisions. The Machiavellian antidotes. Compassion, sever quickly, support generously, for example, 6-month severance. Data, set predetermined thresholds, if X metric hits Y by Z date, we pivot. Legacy, institutionalize strategic forgetting, Amazon's day one mindset, the ethics of ruthlessness. When execution becomes brutality, crossing the line, Wells Fargo's fake accounts, coercion masquerading as execution. Boeing 737 MAX rush, sacrificing safety for speed. Justifiable ruthlessness, Intel's exit from 5G modems to focus on core chips. IBM selling Watson Health to preserve cash. The execution litmus test. 1. Does this serve long-term organizational survival? 2. Are the burdens distributed fairly, not just downward? 3. Can I face shareholders and employees after this? The executor's mindset. To lead like a Machiavellian prince. 1. Decide fast, implement faster. 2. Balance visible force with invisible maneuvering. 3. Never let yesterday's success paralyze tomorrow's necessity. Key takeaways from Chapter 7. 1. Indecision is the ultimate leadership sin. 2. Match execution style to circumstance, lion/fox/architect/gambler. 3. Frame painful cuts as necessary evolution, not personal failure. 4. Ruthlessness without purpose is tyranny. Chapter 8. Reputation alchemy, crafting the leader's legend. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. In the digital age, reputation is not just image, it is strategic armor. Machiavelli understood that what people believe about a leader often matters more than reality. For today's executive, this means controlling narratives before others define you, leveraging symbols to project power, turning weaknesses into strengths through reframing. This chapter reveals how to sculpt your legend while avoiding the traps of vanity and transparency. The 3 pillars of Machiavellian reputation. 1. The illusion of invincibility. Tactic, never let setbacks appear unplanned. 2. The paradox of accessibility. Tactic, manufactured relatability and calculated distance. 3. The alchemy of scandal. Tactic, transform vulnerabilities into strengths. The reputation toolkit. 1. Strategic vulnerability. When to reveal flaws, only those that humanize but don't weaken. Bezos laugh, Zuckerberg's awkwardness. Never competence related, for example, I'm bad with numbers. 2. Symbolic gestures. Powerful optics, Satya Nadella carrying a Linux textbook to Microsoft's 2016 shareholder meeting. Mary Barra testifying before Congress in factory worker attire. 3. The controlled leak ecosystem. 4 channels to shape perception. 1. Business media, WSJ profiles. 2. Social media, LinkedIn thought leadership. 3. Whisper networks, boardroom gossip. 4. Employee evangelists, Glassdoor seeding. 4. The reinvention cycle. When to rebrand, every 5 to 7 years, IJ's Disney transformations. After major failures, Google Alphabet post-ethics scandals. Crisis alchemy, turning scandal into strength. The Machiavellian Crisis Playbook. 1. Pre-strike narrative. Leak your own bad news first. 2. The Noble Sacrifice. Sacrifice mid-level executives if necessary. 3. The Grand Gesture. Bezos' $10 billion Earth Fund after DeVos scandals. 4. The Relentless Pivot. Facebook Meta during privacy fires. Lines not to cross. 1. Fabricated heroism. Thronos fake military partnerships. 2. Victim theater. Adam Newman's visionary misunderstood narrative. 3. Authentic anchors. 1. Verifiable core truth. Nadella's growth mindset demonstrable in culture. The dark side of reputation crafting. When image engineering backfires. The Musk trap. Twitter polls eroding investor confidence. The corporate messiah complex. Uber's Travis as savior narrative. The ethical compass. Machiavelli. The appearance of virtue matters more than virtue itself, but only fools think appearance is enough. Modern translation *. Your reputation must be grounded in some reality, even if amplified, becoming untouchable. The 21st century prince must 1. Control the legend before others distort it. 2. Anchor theatrics in tangible results. 3. Reinvent before reputation sours. Key takeaways from Chapter 8. 1. Reputation is a weapon. Wield it first or have it wielded against you. 2. Strategic vulnerability humanizes. Uncontrolled vulnerability weakens. 3. Every crisis is a rebranding opportunity waiting for the right narrative. 4. The best personas are 70% truth, 30% theater. Chapter 9. The Long Game. Machiavelli's Strategy for Enduring Power. There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success, than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Prince. Most executives fail not from lack of intelligence, but from strategic myopia, prioritizing immediate gains over lasting dominance. Machiavelli warned that power secured hastily crumbles just as fast. This chapter reveals how to build institutions that outlast you. Turn temporary advantages into permanent dominance. Avoid the traps of complacency and overextension. The architecture of enduring power. 1. The succession paradox. Machiavelli's insight: the prince who depends on his own character alone will fall with it. 2. The institutionalization playbook. Tactic: cultural codification. Example: Amazon's leadership principles as doctrine. Tactic: structural entrenchment. Example: Berkshire Hathaway's decentralized empire. Tactic: mythology engineering. Example: Steve Jobs' 1984 creation myth at Apple. 3. The antifragility framework. Build organizations that gain strength from chaos. Netflix's culture of freedom and responsibility. Tesla's vertical integration as supply chain armor. The Long Game strategies. 1. The slow conquest. How to dominate without appearing threatening. Microsoft's decade-long GIT hub courtship. Alphabet's other bets as future options. 2. The strategic retreat. When to surrender battles to win wars. Intel abandoning 5G modems to focus on chip dominance. Disney selling off Fox's regional sports networks. 3. The multigenerational gambit. Planting seeds that mature beyond your tenure. Bezos funding Blue Origin with Amazon stock. Zuckerberg's metaverse bet as legacy play. Lesson: true foresight appears reckless until it's inevitable. The perils of legacy building. 1. The founder's curse. When personal identity stifles institutional growth. Warning signs: CEO for life syndromes. Netflix's Hastings exception. Branded buildings / museums while still active. 2. The innovation paradox. How success breeds vulnerability. IBM's mainframe dominance blinding it to cloud. Google's ad monopoly delaying AI commercialization. 3. The succession kill zone. Why most transitions fail. Statistical reality: 70% of CEO transitions destroy value. McKinsey. Machiavellian fix: test successors with Minerains. Disney's idea experiments. The ethical long game. When legacy building becomes toxic. Personal brands overshadowing companies. Financial engineering as false legacy. The Machiavellian standard. A worthy legacy must: 1. Survive its creator's departure. 2. Elevate the institution above the individual. 3. Pass the 100-year test. Would this still matter in 2125? Becoming a steward of power. The executive who masters the long game. 1. Builds systems that thrive beyond their charisma. 2. Plants forests they'll never sit under. 3. Measures success in decades, not quarters. Key takeaways from Chapter 9. 1. True power is measured by what survives you. 2. Institutionalize your best ideas, not your personality. 3. Strategic retreats often enable greater conquests. 4. The best time to plan succession is at the height of your power. Chapter 10. The Machiavellian Executive Code. 21 Laws for Corporate Survival. Corporate survival isn't about fairness, it's about strategy. Here's a powerful and compelling 21 laws for corporate survival. The tone follows the ruthless, strategic mindset inspired by Machiavellian principles, blended with corporate realism. Law 1. Appear virtuous, act strategic. Craft a public image of integrity while privately pursuing calculated self-interest. Law 2. Master the art of perception. Control how others see you. Perception often trumps reality in promotions and politics. Law 3. Build power silently. Accumulate influence without announcing your ambition. Law 4. Create dependency, not competition. Make others need you more than you need them. Never empower rivals. Law 5. Never outshine the boss. Respect ego hierarchies. Stroke superiors while subtly steering outcomes. Law 6. Control the narrative. Be the storyteller. Define your own image and rewrite internal myths. Law 7. Exploit the weaknesses of others. Learn what drives people, use it to maneuver them like chess pieces. Law 8. Be brutal with dead weight. Cut alliances, habits, or ideas that no longer serve your ascent. Law 9. Keep your motives hidden. Reveal just enough to intrigue. Conceal your real agenda beneath layers. Law 10. Use allies, then rotate them. Loyalty in business is conditional. Keep alliances fresh and expendable. Law 11. Stir conflict to uncover loyalty. Test allegiance through chaos. True allies reveal themselves in war, not peace. Law 12. Learn the power of silence. The quiet executive hears more, reacts less, and controls outcomes better. Law 13. Weaponize information. Information is leverage. Share it selectively. Hoard it strategically. Law 14. Play the long game. Sacrifice short-term wins for long-term positioning. Law 15. Master the exit strategy. Know when to leave, and how to make your departure a power move. Law 16. Disrupt to dominate. Reinvent yourself often. Stay unpredictable. Create discomfort in rivals. Law 17. Keep a loyal inner circle, but watch them closely. Even trusted allies can turn. Loyalty must be tested, not assumed. Law 18. Never apologize for winning. Corporate success is ruthless. Don't justify your victories. Own them. Law 19. Use fear sparingly but effectively. A little fear creates respect. Too much creates rebel lion. Law 20. Stay above the fray. Don't get dragged into petty politics. Be seen as strategic, not emotional. Law 21. Rewrite the rules if you can't win by them. If the game is rigged, change the game. Power respects bold moves. Conclusion. From pawn to king, living the code without losing your soul. Balance ambition, ethics, and personal legacy in the corporate arena. Also, do not forget to brace up for the final exit. Chapter 11. The Exit Masterclass. Leaving power on your own terms. The wise prince thinks not only of present troubles but also of future ones, which he must avoid with all his might. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. Most executives fail at their final test, the exit. Whether through forced ousters, scandalous downfalls, or slow fades into irrelevance, few leaders transition from power gracefully, and fewer still engineer departures that cement their legacies while securing future influence. This chapter reveals how to time your exit for maximum advantage, strategies for remaining a kingmaker after leaving the throne, the art of succession warfare, controlling what happens next, the Machiavellian exit matrix, 4 types of executive exits. Exit Type 1, the victory lap. Definition: leaving at peak performance. Example: IGE's 2020 Disney exit. Power retention: moderate, board seat. Exit Type 2, the Phoenix Gambit. Definition: forced out but returned stronger. Example: Jobs next to Apple Arc. Power retention: high. Exit Type 3, the Silent Shadow. Definition: formal departure but de facto control. Example: Murdoch's retirement. Power retention, extreme. Exit type 4, the sacrificial lamb. Definition: taking fall for systemic failures. Example: Wells Fargo Stumpf. Power retention, none. Key insight: the best exits are staged years in advance. The exit playbook. 1. The succession trap, and how to avoid it. Fatal error: choosing a clone. Machiavellian fix: pick a successor who needs your wisdom. 2. The legacy lock-in. 3 binding mechanisms. 1. Cultural, Bezos' Day 1 philosophy. 2. Structural, Buffett's Berkshire ownership rules. 3. Personnel, promoting loyalists to key roles pre-exit. 3. The controlled demolition. When to engineer a crisis before leaving. 4. The gray eminent strategy. Post-exit power channels, board seats. Consulting roles. Media platforms. When exits go wrong. The 5 fatal exit errors. 1. The ego hangover. Staying too long, Intel's Grove. 2. The succession vacuum. No planned Starbucks-Schultz rescues. 3. The overstay gambit. Testing shareholder patience, Musk's Tesla threats. 4. The poison pill. Sabotaging successors, Dell's return. 5. The transparency trap. Announcing exits too early demands 5 more years. The Machiavelli post-mortem. Every failed exit stems from violating timing. Leave when they ask why, not when. Control, never surrender all leverage. Narrative, frame the transition as evolution, not abandonment. The stewardship standard. A virtuous exit must: 1. Ensure institutional survival beyond you. 2. Distribute power responsibly. 3. Resist post-exit meddling, unless absolutely necessary. The final test of power. The executive who truly masters power: 1. Treats their exit as their most important strategy. 2. Plants their flags where successors can't remove them. 3. Understands that legacy is what happens after you're gone.